Hi everyone, so we know the audio is not great, but you know what? It gets better in a few episodes, and we don't know what we're doing, we're just having fun, so whatever. Enjoy this podcast.
Hello, welcome back to week 2, aka we're filming this one day later, of our unnamed podcast. My name is Madeline.
My name is Sarah.
My name's Josh.
So, first of all, did anybody think of a name? Did anyone even think about it? I didn't.
I was busy trying to build a website.
Yeah, Sarah's building us a website.
We did the antonym of Twilight, and we got.
What is it?
Oh, I don't even have that sheet with me. It was
It was like noon. It was like noon something, right?
Yeah,
Noon was one of them.
I like that one actually.
As the opposite of the new one, which is Midnight Sun. I kind of love Moon because it also gives New Moon.
Yeah, it's just kind of like the shittier version. Wait, are we gonna swear on this?
Well, Sarah
I already did yesterday.
What, Josh?
I was just saying Sarah said shit last time, so I guess we've started the path.
We're pro shit on this podcast. Josh, can you remind everyone why we're doing this and what this is?
We're doing this because we are literally in a global pandemic right now, and we're bored. And then all of a sudden, there's going to be I guess it's the 7th book of a series that I thought only had 4 before this, but Madeline told us that there is extra novellas and stories that I'm unaware of. I'm excited to live with. And so we're just rereading the Twilight series, and then we're gonna talk about it as we're reading it, and then in anticipation for not Noon Moon, but Midnight Sun.
Yes, we read the first 3 chapters, which was like 107 pages, and we read them all very, very, very quickly.
Yeah.
One day later. Yes.
Yeah, Madeline, you were like maybe 30 minutes.
Okay, it was longer than that.
You were very fast. I got sidetracked, but
yeah,
it was. We're all done.
How is everybody reading this? I'm reading it on the Books app on my phone.
Mine was through Kindle off of Amazon, which was $11.
Yeah, mine was about that much too.
I went through my bookshelf at my house and found my OG copy from middle school that my mother and my brother and I'm assuming my sister also read.
The true Twihard.
I guess. Well, as we can remember from yesterday or last week, depending on how you're looking at this, I remembered almost nothing. So it's quite a journey for me already, right at the beginning.
Yes. So I think we should start and just give your opening remarks on your overarching thoughts.
I guess for me, number one, the writing is just way better than I assumed it
would. No. I agree.
It's very descriptive, and there's a couple of I don't know, words that I don't know. It just when I read it, I must have just really passed over those words when I was in middle school, or I was constantly looking them up. But knowing myself, I was just passing them over and not really understanding what I was reading. But some of the vocabulary is
vocabulary.
The vocabulary and the way that it's written is, I don't know, it's enjoyable.
Yeah, I actually really like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had already said it to you guys, but I really don't know why I didn't like the writing when I first tried it. You know, 9 years ago or something.
More than that. Probably about somewhere.
Yeah, but because I had only done maybe 5 pages or so, and then just gave up. And then this time I was like, huh. Okay, and kept reading and kept reading. It's what is going on? Why is this so different this time?
Yeah. I think, and I was talking to my brother, and I was I'm rereading Twilight, and it's actually good. And he was like, no, it's not. And I was thinking, so the plot might be stupid, but we're just so used to it because we grew up with it and we were fans of it. So even if the story is stupid, which we kind of know it is, we're just we don't even consider that. We're more just okay, we know the story. Now we're going back and looking at the writing and like how the book is different from the movies and stuff.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I don't hardly at all remember the book and like the differences between the book and the movies because I've seen the movies so much more recently and they stick with you more.
But I
Yeah.
also will say I am currently falling back into my old pattern of middle school of being so invested already that
Yeah.
like it was a hard thing to stop where we decided to stop because I'm like
Yeah,
I need this romance to continue. I
I
need
completely agree.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I even the story I guess even now I'm still into it. So
Okay, should I give a brief summary?
yes, please do.
Go for
Okay.
it.
So we gave a summary of the movie or the movie is kind of what I said I summarized the book and movie, but it was really just the movie what I was going off of. But the book is very, very, very similar to the movie. Would you guys agree with that so far?
I Yes and no. It's like obviously like all the main like aspects and all of, like the big like plot points are the same. It's just there's in the book there's so much more freedom to develop like Bella's inner thoughts
Yeah.
and
Okay.
so it changes the angle of it, but the
Yeah.
actual like plot points are the same.
Yeah, I have stuff about that, but I'll just okay.
Mhm.
As we know, Bella hops off the plane at LAX from Phoenix to Forks to live with her dad. She's saying bye to her mom. And at this point, we don't really know why. She reveals it later when she's talking to Edward. We just know she's moving to Forks and she's dreading it and she's being super emo about it, even though it was her choice. So her dad picks her up at the airport and she's like, oh my gosh, this is going to be awkward. I barely know this man. I only see him like once a year for a few weeks. And so they get in the car, and this is kind of when she starts to realize, like, he's kind of like me. We have more in common than I thought. They're not chatters. They like to keep to themselves. They don't like small talk, too much.
Mhm.
They're more introverted. And so then they get to his house, and she has kind of like her little room there that she's used to having. And, as she was living with Charlie, this is kind of skipping around, but yeah, they're pretty compatible at living together. She does like she cooks for him because he doesn't cook and like all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
so she goes to her first day of school and she's very much just like wants to fit in, wants to blend in as much as possible. She's adjusting to the climate because she's used to warm and dry, and this is cold and wet. And so school, everybody's like, "Oh my god, it's the new girl! We can't wait! We got to meet the new girl!" And so she
Not
meets,
even just the new girl, but like the sheriff's
yeah,
daughter that whose
Yeah.
wife left with her. Like it's a little bit
yeah,
more scandalous.
yeah, that's true. Sorry, I'll speed through this a little bit faster.
Yeah, you're fine. You're
So
fine.
she meets a bunch of people and they're all like super obsessed with her, and she even herself is kind of like, why? She in her head she's like, okay, yeah, it's just because I'm the new kid.
Mhm.
So she's hanging out. She's kind of just coasting through all this stuff. She hates gym, which can relate 1,000%. I literally am her in gym. And then she sees the Cullens in school, and the descriptions are a little bit different, and we talked about this a little bit in the book than they are in the movie. A few things with their appearance that aren't that big of a deal, but um, and then she finds out, Jessica tells her who they are, and they're the Cullens, and they're from Alaska, and they're adopted, and they're all dating, and it was all this kind of scandalous thing, and So then she goes to her biology class, the iconic biology with Mr. Banner, and she meets Edward, and he's like super super hot and just our dream man, and he looks like he hates her and he doesn't want to eat her, but he wants to kill her. So then what happened next? She's like, what the heck, why doesn't he like me? um he's gone for a few days, people are still obsessed with her. Then he comes back and then he's nice, and then he asks her about everything, about why she moved from Phoenix, and that's when she goes into her mom was married a guy who played minor league baseball. So she moved so her mom could travel with him. And then Edward's like, oh my God, you're so selfless. Then they were outside and Tyler almost hit her with his van, but Edward morphed from across the parking lot to stop it. And then she was like, what? How could you have done that? What the heck is going on? You have to tell me. They go to the hospital. Edward won't tell her, but we meet Carlisle, Sarah's
Oh
favorite
my god.
person,
I
who's the
love
hot
him.
doctor, and Did I miss anything? She emailed her mom.
Yeah,
Yep.
she,
Snowed. It snowed.
um,
Yep.
her and Edward had that chat at the hospital, like,
Mhm.
away from the other people as well, and, like, can I go off that real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, so, like, that for me was one of, like, the biggest differences with the book and the movie. 'Cause,
Mhm.
like, obviously, at that point, she's kinda like, "How" like, "You were there, how did you get so close? Like, what happened? How did that happen?" And in the movie, she's very much more, like, just questioning, like, "I don't really know what's going on, but I don't wanna, say, 'Hey, this is exactly what you did. I'm on to you.'" She's more, like, coy about it. But in the
Mhm.
book, she was more like, "No, this doesn't make sense." Like, she's way more, like, aggressive about asking
Yeah.
him, and he was more, scared, I'd say, of her finding out in the book
Yeah.
than in the movie.
He
In the movie,
wasn't
it was just
confident
bravado.
maybe. Yeah. Yeah, true.
Mhm.
Okay, my thought is when this was happening, like, if you were in her shoes and she's, like, freaking out, like, "What happened?" What would be going through your mind? Because like, you wouldn't be if I were in her shoes, I would just be like, "Oh, I'm a dumbass. He probably was just standing next to me." You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I if my brain doesn't quite understand something, it, like, ticks on it and, like, rips on it until
Mhm.
I figure it out.
Yeah.
So, like, I'd be more similar to, like, how she was, like, thinking about it, but I'd be halfway, I'd be kinda like, "You know what? It could be possible that he could have been walking to me and I just didn't notice."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, I wrote a few things down. One thing that I wanted to talk about that I want to hear from you guys if you think this is intentional or just poor writing. No offense, Stephanie.
Okay.
We know almost nothing about Bella's backstory, about her life in Phoenix. She
Thank
never
Yeah.
you. I wanted to talk about
she
this.
never talks about her friends. She
Ugh.
never talks about what she likes to do. I mean, she
Mhm.
talks about her mom. Occasionally, she'll be like, "Oh, she's always like, "I'm really smart and I took all the advanced classes and I know all this." But it doesn't go into anything besides saying
Mhm.
her mom was scatterbrained and her stepdad played minor league baseball.
Yeah,
What
like,
is up with that?
they talked about, like, when she was talking about gym and, like, having to go, she's like, like, "I was crap there, whatever, people always knew."
Mhm.
She did, like, a little bit about that, but it wasn't like yeah, like, she didn't talk about friends, she didn't talk about,
Yeah.
like, if they had pets or, like, just, like, random things that you would
Yeah.
bring up, like, you go to, like, obviously Charlie's house, and then you normally would be like, "Oh, this is so different from my one
Yeah.
in Phoenix," you know? And
We
none
kind
of
of
that
just have
happened.
we kinda have to take her word for it. But I did just remember one thing. When she was talking about, like, "Oh, the Cullens, they have all this nice designer stuff." She did say that she, like, lived in, like, a lower income area. That's the only thing
Right.
I could
Yep.
remember.
And maybe, like, there's some form of, like, she doesn't talk like, it's not talked about because it seemed so, like, not
A
good.
different life.
Like, yeah, she had 2 different lives, and neither of them she really enjoyed, so maybe it's, like, kind of blocking it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't
Um,
wanna think about it. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Do
Mhm.
you guys think that it should be there, or do you get by without it?
Well, like, I think it could be stronger if it was, like, talked about that it wasn't good rather than just, like, not talked about at all, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Mhm.
or, like, going through, like, what it was like to being shipped off to a place that you hated for the summer, and then,
Yeah.
like, how that really felt. Did you ever feel, like, at home ever? And because if Phoenix was home, but then she was like, "Oh, my mom wants to go do this thing, so I'm just gonna leave, even though that makes me sad." You know what I mean? That
Yeah,
obviously is
Yeah.
yeah.
like, super
Well,
clear.
and, like, it had to she must have felt some type of way about it because she was sad to leave and she, like, reminisces on it, but at the same time, she left it. So, I don't really know what happened, like,
Right.
I don't
Mhm.
know. It's all kind of a mystery what happened before she came there, but I don't know. The book's long enough as it is, so maybe there was only room for so
I
much.
mean, yeah. See,
Yeah.
but then there's me where I really, really like super in-depth books. Like,
Yeah.
I like knowing basically everything that a character has gone through. because like I always think back to him. Like I always connect all the ties,
Mhm.
where like you wouldn't necessarily have to. It's just my brain's automatically to that.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I definitely felt like it would help the story if there was more of her backstory in there, and like it could be, as Edward is being introduced to her, we could be introduced to her more.
Good point.
It could be at the same time instead of just like a random paragraph of like, oh, this reminds me of this one time at this one place with this one friend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be more relevant. Yeah.
All right. Does
Mhm.
anybody else have any talking points?
I just gotta talk about the fact that Alice has black hair in the book. That threw me through a loop. Like, I had to
Really?
reread the name, and I was like, "Who are we
Oh my
talking about?"
god. Well, it said
Like, I had
Emmett had curly hair. It said that in the book.
yeah, yeah. And then it was weird, um, for some reason, I never realized Jasper and Alice are twins.
No, they're dating.
Yeah.
You're thinking of Jasper and Rosalie are adopted, like,
Oh
they're
my god,
they're
okay.
supposed to be siblings.
Okay, I
Oh
got
my god, girl,
so
Jasper
messed
and
up.
Alice are dating.
No, I was sitting there, it's like, maybe they don't date in the series. Maybe I'm just thinking
No.
of
No.
this wrong.
I also would like to talk about that for a bit. Just like the perceptions of the town about this, from like
Yeah.
the people at high school to literally Bella's dad when he was like
Defending her so hard.
defending them later.
Yeah.
Like it's so hilarious. And like first off, they all think their dad, Carlisle, is that his name?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
like literally Ken doll Barbie, like this
Oh,
super
yeah.
sex symbol, and everyone's
Mm.
in love with him, and everyone's all flustered around him. And it's just like okay that his children kind of also look the same age as him, and they're all kind of odd and dating, and it's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
they all know, but they don't, and it's gossip, but they all
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
believe it.
Well,
But then on the other hand, they also are like everyone in the high school is so in love with Edward. Like they're like, he's so hot because he's the only single Cullen.
But they're
yeah.
kinda over him at the point that Bella gets there, though, because 'cause they're all like, "We already shot our shot."
Yeah,
Right.
and he doesn't care about
Yeah.
talking to anybody. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I rem There was one spot, I can't remember who brings it up. It might have been Jessica, but she said something about, like, Mrs. Cullen, or it's Esme, right?
Yeah.
Okay. About how she said something about, like, how she had adopted the kids before because she couldn't have kids, and then, like,
Mm.
everything got, like, weird and tense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know. That kinda, like, put me off, but I already didn't really like Jessica, so
Yeah, we're kinda like, I don't know, are we supposed to hate all her friends? Her human friends?
I don't
They're
it's
supposed to like
weird.
feel detached, I feel. Like
Yeah.
she doesn't like she enjoys that they're there for her and like a person, but like she doesn't need them the way she needs to be friends with Edward right now.
Yeah, and, like, I
Yeah.
kinda stand Mike at first, like, he was nice. What? No, I stand
Yeah,
Mike. I
no,
I
I'm
didn't
with
want them to,
you.
like, be together, but I thought he was nice. That's all.
Okay, you gotta share your thoughts now, Josh.
No, I don't dislike Mike, but I think he's just supposed to be like the helpful guy that then you're supposed to forget later.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying that's not true.
Yeah. But,
I
like,
j-
he
yeah,
everything was, like, well-intentioned, and, like, it was good to have, for her at least, like, one person that was actually, like, genuine and not being weird
right.
with
Yeah,
her, on her first day.
yeah.
Speaking of weird, Edward in biology in general.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, okay, literally, I'm sorry. He, I understand that like later we find out more about like why he is so tense around her and like how he hates
Yeah,
being around her. But like, you've spent your life as a vampire around humans in general, and
yeah,
like all of a sudden you're like clenched fists, so angry.
yeah. Well, no, Josh, do you remember, this isn't a spoiler, I'll give it to you. The reason he's like that is because for some reason, her blood is, like, tastier to him, like,
Right,
smells
and
better.
he can't read her mind, right? Is that the thing?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But However, for our listeners, we do not know that yet at
Yeah.
this point in the book.
Yeah, but the reason he acts like that is because, like, for some reason, like, everybody else's blood smells like Acapulco, but her blood smells like Taco Bell.
That's like the opposite for me, but I
Yeah,
Yeah.
good for you. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I wrote, speaking of biology, when they had their like second conversation where, or like, the one where they actually talked about what happened,
once he fed.
there, there are some things in here that I was shocked that I just could skim all over this page because I had memorized the dialogue
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god.
from the movie. And then there's another piece of Twilight content that I want to bring up to you guys later. But
Mhm.
for example, you don't like the cold. It wasn't a question. Or the wet. Forks must be a difficult place for you to live, he mused. Um, oh yeah. Why did you come here? It's complicated. I think I can keep up. My mother got remarried. That doesn't sound so complex. Just all these things that I just like I was like, why do I know remember all this so vividly? I don't know if it was verbatim in the movie or this other thing that I'm thinking of that I will tell you about, but that was a good scene.
Yeah.
Mhm. I was so like, I don't know, it when I read books, I really like having like no background, no nothing before, so I can, I'm not trying to like battle with like an inner image of anything.
Mhm.
And that second, well, both of the biology scenes, I got so like, for some reason my brain was like short circuiting because they were sitting on the opposite side of the room than what they are in the movie.
Oh my god. I totally noticed that too.
Like, that doesn't make sense at all. So it took me a hot second to like have to, like take that out of my brain and then
Yeah.
refix it. Yeah, it was
But
weird. Like all their
is it
movements didn't make sense and I was like,
uh,
why you wouldn't go that way? Yeah.
so is it easier or harder for you to disconnect from the movie?
The more I read, the easier it got because
Mhm.
it was reestablishing things and it was doing things, talking about things that I hadn't known yet,
Yeah.
so it did make it a lot easier the more I went.
It felt different to me, especially because you said this before about, like, we see more of Bella's, like, monologues, so we miss a lot of that in the movie, and
Mhm.
so hearing that more in the book, it does feel like it feels different than the movie, and, like, it's so funny you said that because in the movie, they're sitting on if they're facing the board, they're sitting on the left side of the classroom in this, like, big desk where it's just the 2 of them, but for
Yep,
some reason
and
when
he's
I was reading the book, I pictured them sitting, like, in the middle of the room in the back. And so it was like a completely like it was the same words, but it felt like a different conversation. I don't remember
Mhm.
exactly where they were sitting, Sarah, but like
yeah,
it
yeah.
like in my mind.
Well,
I was remembering them being on, like, in the book on the right side
Yeah, that could be it.
of the room, and then, like, the entrance, like, the door to the room was on the opposite side.
Well, that's how it is in the movie. Whatever.
Yeah, yeah, but, like, just, like,
also
the reverse image.
Yeah.
also in terms of, like, visualizing things from the movie while you're reading it, I, like, see Robert Pattinson as Edward, but I do not see, um, Bella, like, Kristen
I
No,
Stewart
agree.
as Bella.
I agree.
I see myself.
That was the no, that was the point though, that Stephenie Meyer was supposed to write just kind of like an angsty teen that you could like put yourself in their
Really identify with.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But I agree with you, like, I think of Robert Pattinson, but in a way, this makes him seem a little the book makes him seem a little bit more charming than the movie.
I agree.
Yeah.
He kinda in the movie, he kinda just gets by on his good looks, but he's more charming in the book, but I agree with you about Bella.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah,
What about Charlie? Do you still see him?
I love
No, I
Charlie.
see someone more godlike.
Wait, are you're thinking
Sorry,
of Carlisle, Scott.
totally like Carlisle.
God,
The godlike, awkward sheriff dad.
Okay, okay, I will go with you on that for Carlisle, yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I picture, like, Hercules.
oh, Carlisle, no.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, yes, yes,
Yeah.
like,
incredibly, like, toned and just more like when you see
perfection.
them, there's, like, a glow around them type of
Mhm.
yeah, 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 no, Charlie,
I do not
I
prefer
still
Christmas
I
carols.
still can see him walking around, like, in the flannel with the shotgun,
Yeah,
like, there's no changing that character at all.
yeah, he seems pretty much the same as the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
God, like
And then we can't really judge yet on the other Cullens because we haven't really met them yet.
yeah.
So we can't say how that's different from the
Right.
movie to the book.
Mhm.
I wanna put myself in their shoes right now for, like, when Edward is literally, like, jumping in front of a van, ready to expose their whole family for this girl that he had
Yeah.
to, like, leave for a week for because he was, like,
Yeah.
moody, and they're like, because it, like, said something about, like, Bella remembered looking at the rest of his siblings, and they're all just, like, pissed, standing over by their car, looking at them, and just like, because that's so much work, and, like, we talked about it a little bit last time when it'll be coming back, but, like, the amount of graduation caps, the amount of times they have to do this over and over and over again, and, like, this could cut that short, and, like,
Mhm.
they'd have to restart all over and relocate. It'd be frustrating.
My question is, why would you willingly go to high school again and again? Why wouldn't you go to college?
Or
If
just not.
if I remember right, it was Carlisle that makes them. No, it wasn't said in the book, but of what I remember from the movies, it was Carlisle who has the call to have them be in high school.
If I was forced to be in high school for the rest of my life,
Like,
college would be so much better because you could get so smart, you could major in, like, a bunch of different things.
right.
Yep.
Well, and he could also, like, they could pass as old enough to, like, work at the hospital with him, like, be nurses or other
Yeah.
surgeons. Like, they
Mhm.
could learn how to do that and live forever and do that
They
and
could
Yeah,
do
save.
and,
so
like,
much different stuff.
from, like, town to town too, they wouldn't necessarily have to be, like, their kids, you know? They
True.
could be like,
Well,
"Oh, hey, these are my siblings," you
yeah,
know?
true. But it's
How many
probably
times do
because
you learn about mitosis before you're bored? Like,
yeah, my thing is he's probably knows everything so well that he has to pretend to be stupider. That would be so hard.
Yeah.
right,
He can't seem too smart.
right.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so excited for the Romeo and Juliet part.
I don't even recall that.
I
I'm
kinda
so
I kinda know
excited.
what you're talking about. That's a new moon, I thought.
Oh, it might be.
Unless it's in the movie it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, remember when he, like, quotes it to the class? Yeah, that was in New Moon.
Yeah. Okay.
Dramatic.
Yeah. That was really annoying.
We meet Jacob, like, soon, right?
Oh my god, we literally haven't met him at all.
Yeah,
No,
no.
we've only heard about his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
She
what's his
just
dad?
went
Yeah, it's his dad.
Bobby.
Why does she like that car?
I mean,
Like,
I
he's
can
rugged.
see like, why she would I mean, like, when you first see it, like, I'd be like, "Oh, crap," but then once you're, like, around town, you'd be like, "Okay, cool. This isn't that weird. It actually runs nice," you know?
But she was literally like she saw it and she was like, "I love it." You'd think she would want just, like, a boring car.
Well, I will say this, there's a weird, I don't know if it's just at the beginning here, but there's a lot of connection with cars that I'm noticing. Like, she talked about when she was in Phoenix, the rich, popular kids had
Yeah.
Volvo, and the Cullens have a Volvo, and
Yeah.
then how, like, her car, like, her dad just, like, got her, and that was really emotional for her because it was just, like, something he did for her, and then
Mhm.
when she saw that the chains were on for when it got icy and snowy, he, like, just did that for her, and she, like, was like, "Oh my god." It, like, choked her up because she had not had that experience with her father before, and it's clear that
Well,
the minor league baseball player
mhm.
doesn't do those small things for her.
I think it's
And it
it's even more so that her mom never did those things because she always took care of her mom.
Right,
Yeah. Yeah.
And she wasn't used to having somebody to take care of her.
right.
Mhm. My
I'm
gosh.
finding my way out again. Okay. Any other thoughts?
Um,
Okay, I love how this so we ended at the end of chapter 3, and she goes, "That was the first night that I dreamed of Edward Cullen." And I'm just, like, remembering how often he, like, watches her sleep, and I'm like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god."
That means he was there.
On site. I know, I can't wait to keep reading. We gotta
I know.
figure out how much more we're gonna read.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Any last thoughts? I'm
Yes.
good there.
I have homework for you guys to do.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh my god. So oh my god. Okay, so there's this thing that I found, like, a long time ago, like, in middle school in my Twilight phase, called Twilight the Musical, and it's on YouTube. It's in multiple parts. Do you remember when YouTube, you couldn't upload long videos? You had to do, like,
Yeah.
blank part 1, blank part 2?
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
So it was made, like, 10 years ago, you know what I mean? Like, a long time ago, of a group of they were clearly, like, high school theater kids, and they, like, made these songs, and it was absolutely iconic, and I forgot about it for years. Then I found it again in college and watched it, but there was a time where it got deleted, and
Mhm.
my friends and I in college spent hours trying to look for it, to the point where we found the people that made it, and I messaged them on Twitter. 10 years later, this took us hours and hours and hours, and the girl was like, "Oh, like, we had privated the video or whatever, I'll give you a link." So there was a time where I was the only person in the world who had access to this, and I would hold it over my roommate's head because they would always wanna watch it, but only I had the power to show it to them. But now it's public, and
Wow.
it's iconic, and the songs are so good, and that's what I was saying earlier, some of the dialogue, because it's based completely on the book. It might have
Right.
even no, I think the movies have been out by then. But the dialogue, like, is directly from the book, and that's why I had that part memorized. It was because of Twilight the Musical.
Hilarious.
I
Question.
need to send it to you guys, I need you guys to watch it because it's really, really iconic.
Great.
So it's not the one that's by Glyph Productions?
It is that one.
Okay, so it is up in 2 parts?
They have more there's more than that.
Okay.
Yeah, and the weird thing is, though, they switch Bellas back and forth, and one of the Bellas is really good and one of them is not, and I'm gonna leave it to you to decide which one is which.
Okay.
I have
Can't
a
wait.
feeling we'll know right away.
Yeah.
Oh my god, they have a website.
Yeah, you have no idea. Oh my god, they're so iconic. The part 1 has 237,000 views.
Wow.
It's 11 years old, dude.
Yeah. One sec.
Oh, they got rid of the website. I mean, that doesn't shock me.
Yeah, I mean, they probably aren't even, like, friends anymore, like, this was, like, so long ago.
Yeah.
Alright. Anything else?
No.
Wait, yes. Where so the other 2, like, stories that we're not a like, Josh and I are not aware of, where do those fall, like, in the progression of the books?
Oh, the other 2 books?
Yeah.
So, what is it called? The one that's, like, Twilight Reimagined from that one the 2 are, like, kind of unrelated. The one that's, like, Twilight Reimagined, I can't remember even the name of it, is literally just Twilight, the first book, gender swapped. Like, you
Oh,
don't need
okay.
to read that, and it's really dumb, like, you don't need to read that. And then, oh my god, what was the novella called? It's you won't understand it until we get to Eclipse.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay, so do you think we should read 3 more chapters and then see if we can go further
Yes.
based on where it
Sure.
is? Okay.
Well, it turns out we did end up reading more than 3 chapters, and, well, join us next week for chapters 4 through 12. That's shocking, I know, but you know what? We're having a great time. Thank you for listening.